and welcome to Middle Age Geeks, the podcast where we aim to talk about movies, video games, TV shows, comics, and anything else geeky that takes our fancy. My name is Phil, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Daz. Daz, how are you?
I'm very good, my man. Very good indeed. A good week of playing and watching some pretty decent stuff, so happy out. How about yourself?
Yeah, same. I haven't gotten around yet to playing everything I wanted to play, but it's been a decent week. Seen some good movies. I'm looking forward to talking about this movie this week because we haven't spoken about it yet. I know I just
Yeah.
texted you when I came out of it. I have this kind of feeling before we even talk about it. I have a feeling about it that I think this is going to be how everything everywhere all at once was, where you're blown away with the technical marvels because you understand all this stuff. And you're like, wow, what they did there is so impressive, and I'm blown away by this is so fucking weird. I love it, like just because
Yeah.
I love weird shit, And I think that this is both a technical marvel and also a bonkers fucking movie. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. Which I'll probably will mention now in the intro that it is going to be spoiler heavy for a movie that's just out. We're doing Poor Things that only just came out. So, wait, if you want to listen to the rest of the episode, look at the time codes. Or if you're happy enough to have it spoiled, you feel free to sit through it and enjoy me and Daz talking about it. But before we get into that, I would be interested to know what's been going on for you this week. What have you been playing and watching?
Playing, I have, quite a conundrum in terms of games at the moment. I can't seem to finish any fucking games. So I'm still trying to finish RoboCop, which I'm loving, but I'm just playing a bit less and less because Last of Us 2 came out, the remaster. So, of course, I started playing that, and about an hour into that, I stopped and I said, like, what the fuck are you doing? You need to go back and finish some of these games. So at the moment, like, I'm juggling RoboCop, Jedi Survivor, Alan Wake, Cyberpunk, Resident Evil 4, WWE 2023, and I told you last week I started Celeste again, haven't finished that, and I'm always jumping in and out of FIFA. So, like, it actually just got me thinking about back in the day. Remember when we met each other, like in Electron Boutique and stuff? We'd pretty much be up to date on everything. Be it like kind of
Yeah,
music, but movies and games. It's like we'd played everything we wanted to play and seen pretty much everything bar a few old movies. And slowly but surely, like over the last 10 years, the movies is you see kind of less and less. Maybe over the last 5 years, TV's gotten out of control. There's just too much TV that never going to catch up on that ever. But the movie thing definitely got to a point where I there's so many movies you have to catch up on, and it does get to that worrying point where you're going, is shit, am I ever going to have enough time to catch up on these movies? And that's kind of no,
yeah,
but games was never light. I never thought that would be a worry because, you've always, like, it's all the time in the world to play games. You can always find time because it's in your home, like you don't have to go anywhere. But then, and it was always, you're waiting for a AAA title that comes out, like Red Dead or Last of Us, and you spend weeks just enveloped in that. But now juggling all these games and just seeing the roster of games coming up this year, and like some of these games, Alan Wake and Cyberpunk and Resident Evil, like they're 20, 30, 40 hour games where I can't even finish RoboCop. It's supposed to be 8 hours long, and I don't know how I've been playing for 14 hours. I'm just walking around, just doing a load of shit. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of loads of different type of games and getting nowhere in all of them. How about yourself? Have you been playing anything, watching anything?
I have. Well, my plan was to play the new Prince of Persia game that you have been playing.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
And
yeah.
obviously,
Shit, that's what I've been
yeah,
playing.
and obviously that came out at the same time, well, as the remaster
Mm.
of Last of Us Part Two. So I said, like, I'll on the Last of Us Part Two, give it a couple hours, and then I'll jump into the other one. And I've just been completely sucked in. I was pouring hours into the Last of
Mm.
Us Part Two again. The
It's hard
graphical
not to play it,
update
right?
isn't. Yeah, it's not a big enough graphical update that if let's say if you were stuck in a position where you have played it before and you can't get the upgrades, you have to pay full whack. It's not
Yeah.
worth that. I don't think
Mm.
that it's not that much improvement. But for the
Yeah.
tenner, is all I had to pay to upgrade.
Mm.
So I'm miles into it. Like I'm way into Abbey Story and everything now. Like
Oh wow.
I got really stuck in.
Fair play,
So
like.
yeah, like I won't touch anything else till that's done. You
Mm.
have to just power through it, get it done, and then I'll move on to Prince of Persia, and then we've got like next week or the second. I'm gonna end up having to try. Well, what the fuck is it called? Suicide Squad. It's gonna happen. Just
Yeah,
out of curiosity, because of everything that's gone on with it, I am gonna have to try it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Apart from that, I'm looking forward to stuff more than I've actually been getting into stuff. If you know what I mean. Like when
Yeah.
I look at a couple of trailers for movies that I think might even be out in the States, but not yet here. American Fiction. I'm hoping to go and see that next
Mm.
weekend. And Wicked Little Letters as well is
What's that?
Wicked Little Letters. That's out the same weekend I think over here
Mm.
as American Fiction. So it's a comedy, and it's Jesse Buckley, Olivia Lee Coleman. It looks absolutely
Mm.
hilarious. I love Jesse Buckley, and the trailer, like
Yeah.
multiple times throughout the trailer, I was laughing out loud in the cinema. So like, right, that's a great sign.
That's always good. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you know what? I actually wanted to ask you: did you see this fucking madness over this game, Pal World?
I
Have you
saw
heard
there
of
was
that?
something on IGN about it. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read too much into it. Is it something to do with
Yeah,
AI generated madness or something? Or
no, I don't know exactly because I haven't. I just saw that it was like one
mm.
of the highest ever. I think it's more like an open world Pokemon game
Yeah,
with guns or something like that. But
yeah.
like it's like one of the all time selling premier games on
Mm.
Steam, and like people are going fucking mad for it. People are then modding Pokemon onto this game, Pal
I
World and
saw that.
stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and someone said Nintendo are after him because he modded some Pokemon characters into it. I just
Uh,
got an email or a knock at the door or something. But I thought
but
somebody
what?
said to some AI development behind some aspects of it or something like that. That it's just fucking bananas. Seems to be taking over the world. Like,
It could be. And I think, as far as I know, I don't think the investment amount was insane to make it either. I think I read
mm.
somewhere it was like 6 million or something, which is
Wow.
today's money is not fucking very much. But I would think that would spur is it Game Freak? Is that the makers of Pokemon? Game
Yeah.
Freak. I think
Mm.
it would like spur them on to give people more of what they want. Like there's people have gone mad for this. If this was an actual Pokemon game, people would be going ballistic. If it'd be
Oh yeah.
this high of a seller game, but I don't know. Like I haven't massively enjoyed the last few Pokemon games. I'll play them. I don't really give a shit about Pokemon, but I enjoy
Yeah.
the collecting side of it and stuff. Now I don't get as involved as people who are fucking betting their mates and trade and
Mm.
stuff. I just
But Pokemon Go
burned.
was fucking
Yeah,
cool when it came out. Like
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
just
That was fun.
randomers
Yeah,
on the street just fucking aiming around.
yeah. That was good fun.
That was
Yeah,
fucking cool. It's a shame
but
that
I,
didn't keep going.
I'll generally just burn through those games and then they get deleted, and I would never play them again. But for an open world thing, hopefully that rather than Nintendo or whoever or Game Freak going after
Mm.
these people, are going to go right. Well, let's just copy this. Let's just give it basically what this is and put it out in as an actual Pokemon game and make an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, touching on that, I completely. This is how fucking mad it is. Like, I completely forgot that I was playing Prince of Persia, the Last Crown or whatever. Like, when that came out, I got it at midnight launch, and yeah, played it till about 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was just fantastic. And that was a preface to my whole story. I meant to say that, like, when I was playing that, I was like, right, here we go. I know it's 20 hours or 25 hours, but I was loving every fucking aspect of it. And thinking, right, I'm just going to finish this game. This is it. This is my Last of Us. This is my Red Dead. Like, I'm going to just blinkers on. Here we go. And then I got to it. And it's an excellent Metroidvania-esque 2D kind of hack and slash with the combat's really kind of it's really engrossing after a while. It really opens after about 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
It starts to kick into gear. But then there's a level where you go down into the depths or something like that, and you lose your map. You can't bring up the map anymore. So you're kind of just wandering around trying to find your way out of these sewers, without a fucking map. And it's just 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just like, like fuck this, and I haven't played it since. Just like it just takes too much. Anything that just takes too much time as a plot device or is something to kind of draw out the level a bit more, I just bounce off completely. But I will get back to it. But it's excellent. But that level drove me fucking insane. But
yeah.
just
I've no sense of direction either. Like I get lost anywhere. Even
yeah.
like on levels, I'm constantly bringing the map up. I'm just terrible sense of direction in real life as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, that game does sound like a bit of torture, but I have
Yeah.
to play it. I mean,
But it is
it's
brilliant.
definitely
Yeah,
on the
it's
list.
so
Yeah,
smooth, and yeah, there should be more of those games. It's a great way to reignite the franchise. It's gorgeous, and the combat when it does kick in is badass. There's a couple of times when the bosses are really cool, and even when I dumbed it down to baby mode, it's still it's still challenging enough, you know. But yeah, really good. But yeah,
well, I will get stuck into that if I get the time this
mm.
weekend. Maybe if as soon as I finish this other one.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, cool. Look, that's it then for the intro. With all that out of the way, I'm looking forward to having a conversation about this movie because we haven't spoken about it to each other yet. So I don't
Yeah.
even know what's going to happen. So yeah, take it away, Daz.
Happy days. Okay, so Poor Things, directed by Yorgos Althamos, adapted from Alistair Gray's novel of the same name, or to give it its full title, Poor Things: The Strange Memoirs of Archibald McCandles, which is, I think they should have kept that title. It's fantastic. Um, they will just go over like a brief kind of plot that doesn't really do it justice whatsoever, and then we can kind of get into our thoughts and then dissect it a little bit. And it's kind of cool we haven't chatted about it. It's one of the first times. So the plot, the movie begins in Victorian London, where we meet Godwin Baxter, played by Willem Dafoe, who's a kind of Frankenstein-esque mad scientist with a grossly disfigured face, who enlists one of his students, Max McCandles, played by Rami Youssef, who I had no idea who he was before this, actually. And he enlists him to help study and chart the progress of his dearest new creation, Bella Baxter. And that's played by Emma Stone. And Bella appears to be an adult woman with the mind of a child. And Max begins to care for Bella as her mind develops rapidly. And then a sleazy lawyer enters, Duncan Wedderburn, Mark Ruffalo, who, my God, I love this man. He sweeps Bella off her feet and whisks her away to explore the world and partake in lots and lots of madness and copious amounts of sex, or furious jumping, as Bella so hilariously refers to it. And Bella's journey takes numerous dark and twisted turns as her mind evolves, and she sees the best and worst of the world and society at large. And that's a tiny little. If you read that, you kind of go, "Okay, yeah, that's what? What the hell is that?" So, just your first thoughts on this movie, straight out of the cinema thoughts.
Yeah, I stand by what I text you when I left the
Yeah.
cinema, because all I did was send you one text message, and that was that it's a masterpiece. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. I'm still thinking about it days later. You know, it's got everything I want in a movie.
Mm.
It's well, maybe no. There's no gratuitous violence, not much gratuitous violence. But
Yeah,
apart
yeah.
from that, it's got. I just thought the performances were incredible. The fucking cinematography, like the reimagining, some of those sets are
Sets are
absolutely
astonishing.
out of this world. Like the when they go to Lisbon, you know, I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah.
But the imagining of Lisbon there, the mix of just the lighting and just everything about it, I was just grinning from ear to ear. I loved all the performance. I loved Willem Dafoe. I don't know your man either. The kind of guy who's the
Rami
who
Youssef.
starts off as I'm not
I
sure.
heard
I
him on an interview, an Empire interview, and I think it's essentially his feature film debut. But I think in the States, like, he writes and directs and has his own show. He's a stand-up comic. I'd never really heard of him, but apparently he's, big enough deal in America to get, like I think he did a Netflix special and your own show, which, I don't know, in America you can get a Netflix special. Just if you fucking order a bag of chips, you get a Netflix special with it, But yeah, he's wonderful.
Can I ask then? Because I had obviously built it up. I used the word masterpiece, said how much I loved it. Were you disappointed, or were you like, okay, I agree, or were you somewhere in the middle, or?
I really liked it, but I didn't love it. Which is, it's not disappointed. It's one of the weirdest films for me to even review. When I was thinking about it, because, and I'll come back to this a lot of the time, like, I absolutely adore so much of this movie, the sum of its parts, like everything from, the performances, cinematography, the score, just everything. But then when as a cohesive kind of movie going experience from a narrative point of view, I wasn't as sucked into it as
Okay.
I think I should have been by all those parts that I absolutely loved. And I'm not. I was trying to work out what that was because I kept thinking about what my wife said to me after she saw Oppenheimer. She listing everything she loved about it. Like, you know, the performance is this. But there was obviously some barrier to the full experience, and I think that has something to do with, like, Ali. She's not really into time travel or non-linear narratives, stuff like that. Like in
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I
Inception, when
gotcha.
she saw Inception, she just kind of bounced off. It went. I just, you know, I had to get her to watch it a second time for her to kind of go, oh, okay, actually, you know. So I trying to figure out what was the barrier with this, because every time I think of a scene or a performance or a shot, most of the shots, um, I'm like you, grinning from ear to ear. It's like um, it was spectacular to watch and experience a lot of this movie, but I think the barrier to it, I think it comes down to the director's kind of overindulgence on weirdness from a technical point of view, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like sometimes in certain scenes there are, you know, the scene's going on and then there'll be a strange wide shot, or numerous times there's like
Fisheye kind of
a
lens.
fisheye lens,
Yeah.
and then there's a few times there's a like it's a keyhole shot or a pinhole or something. There's a vignette around, and shots like that just take me out of it straight away because I'm thinking, why? What's the purpose of that shot? It just takes me out of the scene, and then I have to struggle to get back into the scene or into the story. But if you list everything individually, from the story, performances, everything, it was wild, and I loved pretty much everything about it. But something that didn't quite connect, and I think it has to do with that. I think,
Okay. I wonder. Maybe I don't connect to that because you spot some of these things as we talk about movies, obviously constantly.
yeah,
And there's some things that you talk about, the certain shots and how they got that shot and stuff. And I'm like, geez, I wouldn't have known that at all. I
mm.
think maybe it's because you would pick up on that shot or know why
Yeah,
certain
it just
shots
takes me
work
out
and
of
why
it.
some don't.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because initially I was thinking,
Uh,
is it because, like, I haven't really seen a lot of his movies? Is it the weird and wacky kind of nature of it? But then we think of everything, everywhere, all at once, and that's fucking balls to the wall weird, you know.
Yeah.
But it's fucking. I think that's a masterpiece in terms of the way it's filmed. I struggle to say more conventional way in terms of it's filmed more like a movie, where sometimes this feels like I was watching somebody make a movie or watching a play or something from afar. Couldn't quite put my finger on it when I was watching it, but I probably need to see it again. But it's fucking mental. This film
Oh,
is
it's absolutely
batshit
mental. Yeah.
crazy, like absolutely batshit crazy.
I'd love to see Emma Stone win the Oscar for it, just like Michelle Yeoh winning the Oscar for everything,
Oh,
everything.
it's wonderful, yeah,
I'm just gonna call it everything because I'm gonna keep getting it fucking
yeah,
wrong. But that movie, she was incredible, and I was over the fucking moon. Even though not Irish actors weren't winning, Kerry Condon, Colin
mm,
Farrell, Brendan Gleeson weren't winning stuff. I was over the moon because I'm such a huge fan of hers, and
yeah,
for her to start in something so bananas and make it hers,
mm.
she was excellent, and I loved every moment of Emma Stone in this. She was incredible. I
It's
really, really hope that she gets the
it's
Oscar
kind
for
of
it.
it's. I thought it was like her performance. There's just so many facets to it that are just incredible. It's like it's towering, it's fearless, it's raw, it's peerless, you know. But like she seems to anchor all the chaos around her, and she is more often than not part of that chaos. But she goes all out in this fucking movie. Like there's just she yeah, there's no vanity, there's nothing. She's just fully immersed in this mental character. And it not reminded me. I was thinking that like a role like this where it's there's so much scope to it. You know, it's just got like Oscar bait kind of written all over it. But you'd imagine as an actor it would terrify the shit out of you to read something like this and go, fucking hell, you know, imagine if you did get it, how the fuck are you going to do this?
Mm.
Like, regardless of all the amount of nudity and whatever, but the range that you need to portray the character at the beginning and then at the end is astonishing. And she's, yeah, I hope she wins it. I don't think I've seen too much others in that category, but I can't imagine anything else comes close to this. Really? Can you?
Yeah. No. I guess maybe because there's other great performances I'd like that we should touch on. Should we just start to go through the movie on a very basic kind of level? And if anything else jumps out that either of us kind of want to talk about, we can do that.
Let's go. So then we start in London, and Emma Stone is a character. She is a lady. You see her jumping from a bridge to her death, and she is later recovered by Godwin Baxter, Willem Dafoe. His makeup is was frightening, right?
Wow,
just when you really see the grooves in his chin and where it's almost like been overlapping, it's just like, fuck me. That was.
I think what was it? Was it Victorian London or was it? I thought it was set in Scotland. I thought it was.
Is it supposed to be? Yeah, because the book is the book is based in Glasgow, and that's what I thought. But when she comes back just towards the end, when those those titles come up that say which
she does go back to London, yeah,
that's where his house
you're right.
is.
Yeah, I just because his accent is kind of has a Scottish twang to it, and that's why I thought, okay, it's Victorian era Scotland.
Yeah, because I think the director said he you read into as much of this as you want, but apparently some people on Twitter or whatever were pissed off because they said the location change, but he said he doesn't know really anything about Glasgow because it was really in the movie's really ingrained in Glasgow and the culture and stuff like that, and he just said, look, I'm just a Greek kind of fucking weirdo. I don't really know anything about that, but I know a bit about like Victorian London or whatever. So apparently that was a change. But even in, like there's a tagline or first line of Empire's review has Scotland, Victorian Glasgow.
Okay.
So unless, it's a bit confusing, all right.
I suppose for the purposes of our
accents, it's fucking weird.
I suppose for the purposes of us talking about it, that part's not massively important.
Yeah, so he recovers her and reanimates her as an entirely different person named Bella, and she behaves with the mentality of a small child and refers to Godwin as God. I think that was a nice play on words, actually. Godwin Baxter. She's like, God. But yeah, during one of Godwin's lectures, then, just to set it up, he calls upon Max McCandles, that's Rami Youssef, to join him and become his assistant, along with his maid, can't remember her name, Mrs. Prim. Mrs. Prim, yeah. And Max meets Bella and quickly becomes smitten with her, but despite her condition. And while working together, Godwin tells Max, after he's recovered Bella's body, he lets him in on the whole kind of secret that she was the woman who jumped off the bridge, was pregnant, and he replaced her brain with that of the baby, hence her lack of maturity and
it's amazing.
And Bella views Godwin as something of a father figure then, and that's the setup, and you're just going, fuck me sideways, here we go. Like they've actually done that.
But I loved the kind of the flashbacks and stuff as well to the contraptions that Godwin has in his house, the real old style sci-fi, and it just almost reminds me of like a Bela Lugosi movie or something. You have her lying down in this mad contraption.
Yeah, with the electricity and stuff.
But before you get to that, like I think the first weird kind of thing of what the fuck is going on is he tells us that he's been experimented on by his father. That's why he has the scars and stuff.
Yeah.
But when he's sitting at the dinner table and he just goes to burp, opens his mouth, and this big bubble comes out, and I just was like, that was when I knew this movie is for me. I know I'm gonna love it. You can hear behind me people going, "What the fuck was that?" Like,
but it's played as normal, and it's just like, that's just something he does. All right, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But because he kind of he alludes in at numerous points during the movie at his father, who he doesn't seem to hate or anything, but he seems to understand his father's methods and reasons for doing, obviously dark and twisted experiments on him, and that's shown by his face and stuff when he's saying these things. You're like, oh wow, and then he just burps.
But it's I mean, like for the movie itself. But the movie itself is so funny. Like, there's so many funny parts, and even him, he's
Mm.
talking about the how his father treated him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As he's saying it with the deadpan face and stuff like that, like it's fucking hilarious because the way he's delivering it, and he's
Yeah.
talking these awful things his dad's doing, but you can't help but gonna go, Jesus Christ! Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's so well done. But it's that setup alone, you're straight away going, this is some sort of Frankenstein story, basically.
Mm.
That's what it's feels like. And you're kind of kept then at the start when, as you said, he lets him in the secret. The whole idea is they're trying to. Bella is getting more and more of a person. She starts off, she can't even fully pronounce words, but as these early scenes go on,
like 15 words a day or something.
Sentences, yeah. And she started to grow and grow and grow and stuff. And then it's almost like this caged bird. This cage isn't big enough to hold her, and she wants to go and see the outside and see the world.
Mm.
And that's kind of when that's just around that time we get introduced to Mark Ruffalo, because what's his face wants to marry Bella, and he's like, well, I'll tell you what, make an agreement. You can marry her, but you have to stay here in the house.
Keep her here, yeah.
She can't go. Keep her here, and then that's the agreement. And so he brings in this lawyer to bring in and ratify these papers and have an agreement that they'll all sign that this will be it. And in comes Mark Ruffalo, and I'm just so used to Mark Ruffalo recently because of Marvel movies. So I haven't seen a performance from him that I've loved since probably Spotlight.
It's 2015.
That I've really gone, wow. Yeah, which I've gone,
almost 10 years ago.
Was a really good performance. But he was incredible in this movie. Absolutely incredible. I loved him. I thought he was fucking. It was so funny. The part when he gets so flustered, the angry stuff, the how pompous he is. His delivery of his lines. Like I couldn't get my eyes off him. I thought he was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's just a gloriously over the top buffoon, a charming buffoon.
Yeah, yeah. I thought he absolutely
but it's so true. It's so true. Like, yeah, it's like he's just been resigned to playing, pretty good Bruce Banner / Hulk, and being chastised into just this kind of cookie cutter character. For Jesus Christ, I can't believe Spotlight is 2015. But you forget before that, like Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind, like Zodiac. He's in like Collateral. He's in these fucking fantastic movies. Really, really great character actor. I'm pretty sure he was nominated before or something. But again, he's got to be a front runner for an Oscar. Like in such a dark and twisted movie, as you were saying, there's so many kind of like deadpan, humorous moments from Willem Dafoe and just scenery. Chewing kind of moments, but Mark Ruffalo's, like, some of his delivery and just the way he plays it off as if this is just how people talk or whatever. I laughed out loud about 5 or 6 times just watching him. I could watch him for fucking months and months.
Yeah.
He's just absolutely phenomenal. What's one of his lines I had down here is we get to the scene later, but at the risk of being immodest, you've just been thrice fucked by the very best. That is just like a fucking straight away out with the phone. I had to write it down because my notes, like, I don't know if you were trying to take notes, like, because we do try and take notes when we're watching movies. I wrote about 3 things, lenses, fisheye, and just couldn't write anything else because just there's too much going on screen and you're going to miss something. Like,
I didn't take one note. Not one note. No, well, because I wasn't sure if we were going to do this, but I was too engrossed in it. I'm fully remember the movie fine, because I was so sucked into it, and it'll be one that I would watch many, many times again. So I feel I didn't even need to take any notes. Stuff just popped into my head over the course of this week. I've kind of said, okay, I'll make sure to bring that up. But while I watched it, no, I didn't take any notes. I was just.
So when did you see that? Because I saw it yesterday. You saw it over the weekend?
Yes, last weekend, whatever day. Was it last weekend? Yes, the weekend just gone. Yes, Saturday.
Super.
Yeah.
So I'll go with, where were we? Godwin is visited by the lawyer, Mark Ruffalo, who takes a liking to Bella, and he offers her a chance to join him on a trip to Lisbon, even though Godwin would not allow it. But she announces her intentions to Godwin and Max, who both express, their displeasure and don't want her to leave. But Godwin lets her go, and it's a nice kind of character moment for Willem Dafoe, where he really wants to keep her there, and he's telling Max, if you marry her, that's the one kind of rule. Just keep her in the house, and you're thinking, right? Oh, is he really this mad fucking crazy dark fucking scientist? But that kind of paternal instinct kind of showcases itself where he wants to keep her there, but he does see, right, she does have to spread her wings and leave the nest essentially. So yeah. So then she is whisked off to Lisbon, and what did you think of Lisbon? It's a sight to behold.
Just
The first wide of all these spots where I'm thinking he's trying to go for, like, this is maybe her point of view, because it's very kind of psychedelic, steampunk-esque kind of visuals. It's almost obviously a set, but it's hyper realistic, with trippy clouds, but it's just this fucking, that initial iconic shot of Lisbon. It does kind of take your breath away straight away with the colors. So vibrant. Oh, we must say it's black and white up to a point. I think this is the point it cuts into color.
Yeah.
You get to Lisbon, it's like bang, there you go. It blew my mind visually.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, actually, I wanted to look at who the production company were, and he used the same production company for his movies. It's produced by an Irish company,
Elemental Pictures. Yeah.
And they produced Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer as well. But I just had to look up the cinematography, because I was like, Jesus, this is just, it's so fucking gorgeous. Everything is cut and shot so well. It's such a feast for the eyes kind of thing. You're looking at it going, like, obviously it's not fucking Lisbon, you know what I mean? But it's just, it's this wonderful imagining of it. And it's just, and each thing is like that when they move to Greece and they go to these other places, it's just this, as you said, it's almost if someone explained Lisbon to somebody, and someone went, okay, well, I'll try and draw it from what my imagination has come up with, rather than, what Lisbon actually is. I mean, they've got overhead, like, monorail cars and stuff like this, which obviously weren't around in Victorian era, But it's just, it's straight away, it's just that's kind of when it opened up. It became this bigger world, because at the start it's so insular. It's Bella, it's Godwin in this house, and I'm wondering where this is going to go. And then when he sweeps her away, now it's like, oh shit, anything can happen now. It's opened this whole new world, literally. But yeah, no, it's brilliant. And those early scenes in Lisbon, because she's just finding more and more of her voice, as you said, it's more and more. It's not just vocabulary that she's learning; it's learning about herself, learning about the world, and she's just, there's no filter on anything she says or anything she does, and he's him getting frustrated with her as well, because he wants to have this gorgeous woman on his arm who he's so delighted to be, having sex with multiple times a day. She won't play ball, But yeah, so it's trying to his lack of having control over her, yet he's still absolutely besotted and bewitched by her. It's a great opening to where it leads on to.
Yeah, and at one point, then, I'm not sure if this is the next scene or not, but when we go back to London, and Max notices that Godwin's missing her in her absence, and it's when he wants to continue his research without her, and he attempts a similar experiment on another woman, I think was called Felicity,
and that's what's her face, Margaret Qualley.
That's who it is.
Yeah, I think she's great. I think she makes great choices with the stuff that she stars in, because she has all of fucking 3 words to say in this movie. I love the choices of stuff that she stars in, like The Leftovers, Inherent Vice. Obviously she was in that. She was in the movie that turned out to be terrible, Death Note, but it was still great that she would have played played that character really well if she was given a decent fucking movie to star in. And she picks a lot of little independent, smaller movies as well, like sci-fi and stuff.
She's
I'm
great.
A big fan of hers. Yeah, I think she'll have a really great career. Or she already has one, but I think she'll go on to do. Really, she's so young. But yeah, so as you said, they tried to do the experiment again. I think it's just Godwin's not only way of. It's not so much replacing her as it is a distraction, or maybe he's trying to prove to himself, or go, no, it is like, this is all she was experiment to try and protect himself.
Play it down, protect
himself from, she really was he really misses her. She really was a daughter to him, and this
Absolutely, and you can see that in the
other
way he
thing.
treats Felicity. He really treats her as an experiment because her
Yeah,
intelligence is not developed as quickly as Bella's, but he's very just matter of fact and just like, well, blah blah blah. It's just an experiment, and lightning doesn't strike twice or whatever. And
yeah,
that's that's a good point. Yeah, that it is more of a distraction that he's trying to suppress his emotions over his experiments. Where really he's missing his daughter, which is pretty sad. But
yeah.
so yeah, like Duncan would get to the bit where they go on a cruise. So Duncan starts to grow, exacerbated with his inability to control Bella and her rapidly developing mind and curiosity, and as you say, her no filter, which is just Emma. I just don't know how Emma Stone from scene to scene, because they obviously shot this like every movie. You shoot it out of sequence depending on locations and budgets and where you are in the script. So, but every scene, it's like she's gone from like 35%, 40%, where she's just, evolving ever so slightly from scene to scene. She just plays it absolutely fucking brilliantly. And that's where, like, the editing in that is sublime. But Duncan, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
and it's her physicality too, because as we said, like she's starting off. It's a baby's brain inside this adult. So she's barely, when she's walking around the place, she's barely lifting her feet off the ground. It's just she's unsure on her feet. Like, so as the movie, Emma Stone plays it so well, because not only is she grown, but everything, her whole physical appearance or her way she moves changes throughout the movie, like evolves. That she's not just this wooden fucking unsteady on her feet kind of thing. She starts to grow and grow and be more confident till towards the end. She's almost like this fucking supreme being. It's just how she plays it. As you said, it's probably shot at a sequence, so she's probably jumping from playing it this way to going back to an older way. So it just makes it all the more impressive.
It's like pitch perfect. Like she's just captivating on screen. And as you're saying, like it's the physical performance, the physical comedy as well, that she's juggling, spinning so many plates with this performance at once in every fucking scene and out of order, knowing exactly where she is. It's almost kind of like the acting performance you'd expect of somebody far older than she, or far more mature as an actress. It's like they say, when an actor gets like 50s and 60s, like Robert De Niro or something, they can just act in a scene without doing anything. You just do less and less, and it's like Robert De Niro in Goodfellas, it's just that shot, and it's just slowly just dollying in on his face, and you can, exactly what he's thinking, his decisions, everything he's done with nothing. And Emma Stone is doing that in this fucking movie. She's just fucking wild. So yeah, Duncan, he smuggles her in his large trunk onto a cruise ship as they make their way towards Alexandria. And on the ship, Bella meets some fellow passengers she starts to get into philosophy, kind of chats with them, and Duncan becomes more unhinged. I love how he just starts to become more and more, not just unhinged, he becomes almost infantile, and she's just starting to fucking lose the plot and lose all his false kind of charm, and everything is buffoonery. It just starts to spiral out of control, which is great to see. And again, that's Mark Ruffalo in a fucking nutshell. He's nailing it. But Duncan becomes unhinged, and as Bella's interests expand way beyond his own, and he attempts to attack one of Bella's two friends on the ship. He just gets so frustrated, he tries to pick her up and throw her overboard. It's just
it's so awkward.
So bizarre. It's so brilliant.
Yeah, and the other one plays it because she is just bemused. She's looking at him, laughing while he's pulling her deck chair across the side, and she's just like, she's just taking the piss out of him while she's doing it. It's just, it's just, as you said, the physical comedy. Like he's so angry that she's learning. She has a book in her hand, and she's not interested in talking to him. But he gets it. He throws it overboard, and your one beside him just goes like that. And just hands her another book instead. So she just starts reading that instead. You see it losing the plot. That goes overboard as well. And it's that whole duality of it. Like he's so angry and pissed off that he can't control her, but at the same time he is infatuated and obsessed with her. So it's not like, right, I'm sick of this fucking woman. She's doing my head in. I'm gone the minute I get off. He can't get away from her because he's so uh, just so
Enamored with her,
obsessed.
like obsessed.
Yeah.
Where he starts with she like you're lucky to have me, la la la. To
But
I'm besotted with you, like, and I can't live without you. Like.
I think it's a good point when you mentioned the two people that she met on the boat. This is where she kind of has that shit. Like at the moment, it's everything is me, me, me. The new experiences. I want to experience this. The bigger world. When she first starts like learning to masturbate and pleasure herself, then it's all about she wants sex all day, every day. As you said, furious jumping. It's just obsessed with just physical pleasure, with the drinking, with food. Everything is all pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. And then when the boat goes to Greece. It is Greece, isn't it? Yeah. And that's where you see this massive humanity and this care from others come in. When she looks down and she sees the poverty outside the city, the people who are babies who are dying, and sickness and everything else, and that absolute breakdown that she has on the stairs when she's going down to it, it's just that's when she realizes the others in the world and the pain that's in the world and the unfairness and all that kind of stuff. And still her innocence persists because we see what's his face, Mark Ruffalo, is after exacerbated with her. He goes and spends all his money in the casino, and he's hammer drunk and he's playing away and he wins a ton of money, passes out in his room with all the money he's ever made, passed out, and she takes it up and decides she's going to give it to the poor. But again, it shows her innocence is still there because she brings it down and she's like, oh, I need to get off. And the lads are like, no, the boat's leaving, we can't. And she goes, but I have this box of money that I have to give to the poor because they need it. And they're like, well, why don't you give it to us? I mean, we're staying on. We'll make sure it definitely gets there. And she's like, oh, okay. And just hands it over this fucking massive wad of cash. And she just completely
all the money
assumes.
He ever had. Like,
Yeah, and completely assumes the best of them, that why would they possibly be lying? And doesn't understand why, when she said Mark Ruffalo has an absolute freak out when he finds out, it's fucking brilliant when he finds out what she's done with the money, because he's already losing it with the ship's captain because he's convinced someone has broken into his room and robbed his money when really it's Bella when he just passed out from. It's so good.
Then obviously they have no money, so they get chucked off in Marseille. But the pair then end up in Paris, where Bella comes across a brothel, and they obviously have no money, and she seeks employment with Madame Swiney, who's I can't remember the actress's name, but she's fucking fantastic, like absolutely fantastic. So she starts working there, and Duncan becomes disgusted by Bella fornicating with multiple men, and becomes pissed when he learns she had emergency funds all along that Godwin had sewn into her jacket or something. So he just loses the fucking plot again. Bella befriends a fellow prostitute named Toinette. Is that her name? I remember who she was.
No, actually, I didn't.
Yeah, I know her from somewhere. She's she's
absolutely stunning. I'm not sure what else I know her from. She's gorgeous.
So she kind of introduces her to the world of like socialism and engages in sexual activity with her as well. And this is all. It's like Emma Stone taking power of her sexuality, because we had witnessed obviously her kind of sexual awakening as part of her development and pleasuring herself, and then just having furious jumping for hours and hours a day, but then to actually realize, hold on, I can make money by doing this. And I love that it's not there's no negative connotations to this at all in that script or in the movie whatsoever. It's just like, well, that's what you'll do, and it's all comes from Mark Ruffalo's point of view, where he's fucking like, how dare you, like, what, and absolutely loses his fucking mind. But Duncan eventually has a breakdown and gets institutionalized. He writes to Godwin, who is falling heavily ill, and he sends Max to visit Duncan, who tells him what Bella has been up to, and then Bella is brought back to visit her dying father in the estate. And this is where we see it's the estate in London, so it must be
I love the cards, the cards, the setups in between each city where they were going.
They're so inventive.
They're beautiful. Oh yeah, they're just absolutely gorgeous. I loved. They're just something so ethereal or something about it. And it's just excellent. But back to London, and it was actually so nice to. I mean, it's great. As I said, I loved the fact that they're out exploring the world and stuff, and I loved on the ship.
You're
Beautiful,
hoping
but there
that she goes
was
back, like, aren't you? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There was something so nice, but I was like, oh, great. I'm glad that he's not going to pass while she's not there. I wanted to see the two of them
Mm.
reunited, and it's her then going back and finding out the truth, finding out because
Mm.
she doesn't realize that she was a baby put inside a fucking body of a woman
Yeah.
who had killed herself. You know,
Yeah.
so her going back and finding that out and having to confront Godwin about it as well.
Mm. And just kind of deal with it. And then she decides to go ahead with with getting married to Max, and as he especially doesn't care about her sexual exploits, and she's happy about that. But however, just as the ceremony, and this caught me completely off guard. I thought the movie was wrapping up, as the ceremony is getting underway. It's interrupted by some general General Alfie or something, who calls Bella as his wife Victoria. And there was something that prefaced this earlier on when they were on the cruise, where someone came up to Bella and then called her and said, "Oh, hello, Victoria," something. And Bella was like, "I don't know who you're talking about." So
Yeah.
this is revisited here, where he says he's come to reclaim her because he's her husband and take her back home. And then Bella learns.
But what's great about that is when he comes in is that he has this thing. Is this one of those weddings where someone can interrupt and
Oh, yeah.
As it, but Mark Ruffalo was there with him because Mark Ruffalo is the one who told him.
Oh, yeah.
He remembers his name. He said, but it's just this real. If I can't have you, I'd rather this fucking dickhead have you than if I can't. I'd rather
so
take it than you get to live happily ever after. You get to have your wedding. I would rather this piece of shit, this this husband who obviously your woman had killed herself. Something like this. The reason that she ran away or whatever was because of this guy. It's like I would rather see you with this piece of shit, even if it's not with me, rather than see you happy. It's just so petulant, and he just becomes this small little man. But yeah, I still loved it because he's in the background, almost like my mate holding me back. He's pointing over his shoulder.
Yeah. He's delighted with himself. Like, look what I've done.
Yeah.
What did you make of their scene then when she decides to go with General Alfie back to their estate, and this is this just went really dark.
Yeah, it gets super dark, but that's set that there's a wide scene when both of them are sitting on either end of that long table.
Oh yeah.
So you find out that the general, this guy that she was betrothed to before, or her husband or whatever it was an absolute piece of shit. His staff hated him. He carried a gun around at all times because he was afraid his staff were going to kill him. He was just an absolute monster, and he's obviously treated her like shit. The woman who died, Bella's mother. But that scene when it's gorgeous. That set for wherever they shot, whatever fucking castle. I don't know if it's a set or if it's actually inside a real castle or whatever, but it's fucking gorgeously ornate and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets super dark. He pretty much tells her that he plans on keeping her there. That's it. You're going to be essentially be my prisoner. He plays that part so well. I only know him from one other thing. I've seen him in. You wouldn't see the movie called Possessor.
No,
it's kind of a horror sci-fi. It's not very scary, but it's really well done. It's God, I'm never going to remember her name, so I'm not even going to try. But it's Jennifer Jason Leigh and Angela Riseborough.
Okay,
and it's a whole thing of these people go in and you can link into someone else's brain and control them, kind of thing. This is a job that certain undercover people have. It's really cool, but he's taken over by her in one part to do a hit basically on something. But that's the only other thing I've seen him in. But I quite enjoyed him in this. He was so menacing.
Oh, he's the despicable human being. It's always a good sign of a good villain when you're just Jesus Christ. If you saw the actor in the street, you'd want to thump him in the fucking face. Like they're it's pretty shocking that he plans to keep her there, and how cruel he is to the staff. Because even when Bella gets there and she's walking to her room with one of the maids, and she's kind of going, asking her what her name is or something. She's just getting cold, like empty nothing from this woman. She's just like, wondering why she isn't engaging in conversation with her, and you find out that the two of them just treated the staff with like fucking pigs, and pointing guns at them, and just, oh my god, it was quite shocking. And then like Bella eventually escapes by Alfie's aiming a gun at her, and she turns it on him, or they have a little struggle, and shoots him in the foot. And she returns to Godwin, and there's a lovely scene where it's herself and her father, and then Max joins the shot as well, where the three of them are just kind of just lying with Godwin as he passes away. It's very, very touching. It's just there's a few moments where you're hoping that she does get back to him, just to have a little last moment with her eccentric father. And do you want to describe the mad final scene, which was just gloriously heartwarming, touching, and just couldn't stop laughing.
Well, I was so happy that it got a happy ending, because it is some movies I don't care if it gets a happy ending as long as the ending is satisfying. Exactly. As long as sometimes the bad ending is satisfying. Sometimes the ending where you don't get to know what happens is satisfying. It's still more, okay, well, I'm happy to work it out for myself, or I'm happy to have my imagination to where this ends up going. I don't need it all wrapped up in a bow. But for this, I kind of wanted a happy ending, and it was just the most bizarrely happy ending ever. Like she gets before when she comes back to Godwin, I think the servants from the house help her bring Alfie the dickhead back to Godwin's thing, and she ends up running the same experiment with the brain swap, except she puts a goat's brain inside Alfie's head instead. And we should say at the start of the movie, you see all these other experiments running around the house, like these things, like he has like a dog's head on a chicken or whatever, because that's what he does.
Pig on a chicken, it's fucking great.
So to see them then, and they're in the garden and they're sitting out, and Margaret Qualley's character is with the maid, and they're playing catchball, and she manages to catch it for the first time. The maid is happy; she's going to have a drink with them. They're sitting out in the garden to have cocktails, and Alfie's just around on his fucking hands and knees, bleeding like the fucking goat that he is. It was so fucking funny. I did. Part of me wondered why, if she knew how to do it, why didn't she take Godwin's brain and put it into a healthy body? That thing. Or I wondered, because I wondered afterwards. I thought well, there is a line he says when he's talking about when
there was
what's his name again?
Something. He says something. Yeah.
He says something about I can operate. And he says something about there's no point because the cancer is spread. It's not just where it is now. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's not only has he got a plates in his head, but it's the cancer is spread to his brain or something like that. And that's why you can't. But I just wondered there for a second. I wonder why she didn't do that. I assume she would have, could she? But I thought it's better that they didn't. I think it's nice that there was. That would have been a beautiful bit goodbye.
Too saccharine, just.
Yeah. It was a beautiful goodbye.
Would take something away from the death, then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it was a beautiful goodbye. He knew that she not only accepted him as her father, he accepted her as a daughter. She forgave him for the lies and everything what he had done. It was just, he died at peace and left her. She said she wanted to be a surgeon. He left her his surgery, and I was beaming at that ending. Absolutely, smile on my face. I loved it.
What it's about nice, you? Yeah. It's just when he realizes that she's forgives him. Because he's this tortured kind of character that, it's almost like the, childhood haunts manifest themselves in him. It's almost like, we are our parents, where he's doing the mad shit that his father is doing. And that's kind of a frightening thought, but it's just, it's a nice send off. And I still leave it, even at the last shot, still just because it's nice close up on him, just still marveling at his prosthetics. I really can't wait to see behind the scenes on this and just see how long did he have to sit in a chair for that, because they're teetering on the edge of being a caricature or being they're accentuating his jaw, and But yeah, just the it's just grotesque. But yeah, a lovely ending, a really nice nice touching moment just to precede the madness with the guy with the goat's brain, which is exactly what he fucking deserved.
Yeah.
It was yeah, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic ending to it. But
Mm.
so yeah, what you like closing thoughts? You just
Oh,
absolutely
yeah,
fucking
that's yeah. I'm absolutely in love with it. I really hope that it's like I still think in the last year, maybe even 2 years, I still think Oppenheimer is the best movie I've seen.
mm,
So I hope that that wins Best Picture.
yeah.
But I wouldn't be disappointed if this did. But I would
Mm,
100% want to see. I know Willem Dafoe didn't get nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
it's a
I
shame.
didn't check the rest of them. I know
Mm.
obviously Emma Stone got nominated. I don't know. I
I think
don't
it's
think Mark Ruffalo got nominated.
did he not? Fuck, because I know it's got I think I got
It's got something like
11 nominations, which
always
is 11.
okay.
Yeah, it's only 11 or 12. It's just one or two shy of the record, which is like Titanic and Lord of the Rings. Think of 13 each or 14 each. But it's crazy. Getting double digits is phenomenal because the movie's batshit fucking crazy, like absolutely batshit crazy.
Oh
But
yeah,
I'd love to. It makes me want to see his other movies because yeah, I haven't seen any of them, and it's kind of strange to for the trajectory that he's on, that he's so still um, true to his eccentricities in terms of filmmaking, storylines, and the things he's making and pursuing. But the
wonderful,
fact that
wonderful that no one's trying to rein him in as well. You know what I
exactly,
mean?
yeah, and I
There's
think
no one
that's
trying to rein him in.
and his kind of connection with Element Pictures is the fuel for that. I think because they've just let him do what you want to do, and I think they've supported him the whole way. Done this is the fourth collaboration with them, I think. But the fact that his trajectory has been so it should be growing and growing and growing, obviously with the favorite and a few Oscar nominations as well. The fact that, as you said, it's still he hasn't been like, oh, just maybe just you don't want to do that. That's a bit weird, or do you really want to do that movie? It's a bit fucking batshit crazy. And he's just like, no, give me what they give him 35, 40 million or something for it, and just like go nuts. You know what I mean? And he's got he can pick and choose pretty much whoever he wants for his next movie. Like everyone will be fuck yeah. If you want to challenge yourself and from a
Yeah,
performance point of view, you're not getting a straight cookie cutter standard character arc or whatever. You're getting a chance to just go absolutely fucking nuts. I didn't touch on the score actually, which is a crazy off kilter fucking
yeah.
tone. Like it's Jerskin Fendrix. That's what his name is. His score is baffling. Like it's baffling. It's bonkers. It comes in at times when there's a scene playing out. You would expect a certain type of music to come in to accompany this maybe emotional scene or something like that, and then bells and fucking horns come in, and it just
Yeah,
makes perfect sense with the fucking madness that is the movie. Like
it's almost music that you'd expect to go along with like a comedy scene or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, and then almost like, am I
It's like
supposed
what
to
the
find this part funny or
yeah,
like
just like
it's really it's good.
yeah, and the
I,
the cinematography actually was shout out. It's Robbie Ryan. It's an Irish cinematographer who's it's just it's glorious, and you can see from even the trailer alone. But there's so many shots in this where, like we've said about a few movies in our movie review, where you could take any frame and just blow it up, and it's stick it on your wall, and
yeah.
fucking have you thinking for days. But he's brilliant. But yeah, it's a batshit crazy
So what would
movie,
you?
batshit crazy.
So I assume we'd both recommend it, but let's
Yeah,
say if we had to give it if you had to give it a star rating out of 5, we can do half stars as well. Don't forget. What would you give it?
I'd say 4. I'd have to give it 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I go 4.5. I can't. I don't think any movie is perfect. I'm not sure if I'd ever give a movie a 5 stars because 5 stars is literally perfect. I don't know if anything deserves a 5 star unless it's my favorite movie, Jaws. I don't
Yeah.
know if I can give. I don't know if we can give a movie, but this is as close to. This is as close to perfect for me, for my
Mm.
type of movie that I want. I love a bonkers movie. I love a feast for the eyes.
Mm.
Love the performances. And especially it really, what I'm really happy about is how it made me absolutely in love with fucking Mark Ruffalo again. I just
Mm.
thought he was brilliant. Well, it was absolutely excellent. I think I just feel, I know this is a terrible thing to say, almost a little bit of a dialing it in with the Marvel stuff. Like there's a part where
Mm.
they have him CG'd into the Hulkbuster thing, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you guys are really fucked now," or something. It's just real.
But he's got nothing to
Did you
work with in
film that
those
from? Yeah,
movies, you know.
yeah, yeah.
He
Yeah.
really,
Did you film that at home? Like
yeah,
it didn't. There's nothing. Yeah, it's a lot of times he's not even acting the part. Like you see him in She-Hulk or whatever else, and it's the Hulk. He's as the Hulk. It's not him. Whereas this is just something completely different, and I
must have
feel
been
like he
such a
knocked it out of
breath
the
of fresh
park.
air for him. Really, it must have been to
Oh
get your teeth
yeah,
into this. You just go, yes, fucking please sign me up.
he
Like I
must
want
have
to
had a
show the world
blast.
what I
Like
can do.
people must have had an absolute blast working with him as well. I would to be
Mm.
seeing that performance the whole time. He must have been a blast
Yeah.
to watch perform as well. But yeah. So I'd go 4.5. You go 4. I think that's very
4,
high
yeah,
praise for it.
absolutely. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a very, very, very good watch. Excellent performances and just bonkers. Just everything about it is
Go
bonkers. An exciting director to watch.
go
So
and see
yeah,
it. Go and see it
go
eventually.
and see it. So
Yeah.
on that note, we'll wrap up the movie review and on to Phil now. We didn't actually say we were going to do this week, but on to Phil, our retro corner,
Yeah.
who's going to surprise us with some Nintendo stuff.
Yeah. Cheers, Daz. Yeah, I decided this will be a fairly compact uh, retro corner. So this year is the 20th anniversary, and that's why I thought I'd do it, because it's the 20th anniversary of the Nintendo DS. So I thought it'd be fun to switch it up and do like a tech review. I know we've done some in the past, but to do it for our retro corner, to go back and revisit this, like it was 2004 for the States and for Japan, but we didn't get it until the following year, which is mad because we ended up getting it like in 2005, and then the DS Lite was resist in 2006.
Wow, was it
Nintendo
that
didn't
quick?
waste any time. Yeah, it was so quick.
That's
Um,
mad.
but yeah, I just figured that, like, as I said, I won't drone on for too long, but I figured as it was such a successful console that it kind of warrants a bit of love on what is his birthday year, you know? Did you have a DS yourself?
No, not at all. This was
No.
around the start of, remember, I think I mentioned before that like from being Nintendo nut to like when I think 2003, 2004, when I kind of went traveling and just make it mad in retrospect to think that like when I went traveling, I stopped playing Nintendo consoles when getting a DS, fucking handheld console is the perfect thing to have.
Would
If
have
you're
been the
fucking
easiest thing. Yeah,
traveling.
yeah,
So it's just like, so yeah, I didn't have any of the DSs. I think I tried one of yours. Yeah, back in like around the time of Rock Band and stuff. You showed me some or Ninja game on one of yours, and I was like, "This is
Right,
fucking
okay,
cool."
yeah.
And that's the only time I touch one, I think, ever, which is
But
mad, right?
but what's mad about this one is that, like, everybody seemed to have one. I mean,
Hmm.
this was one where, like, my ma had one. People's parents had them because there was a lot of easily accessible games. You know, that it came with the DS
Brain
Lite, came
training,
with the
yeah.
Brain Trainer game. Yeah, and fucking people love that. You know, people still do mess around with things like that. And so, like I said, everybody had one, and I think that's what made it. Like, it still is the second best selling console of all time.
Wow.
After the PlayStation 2. So 154.02 million units sold.
Fuck's sake.
That's over
That's insane.
its different iterations. Yeah, because there was the DS, DS Lite, there was the DSi and the DSi XL. I mean, mostly had the same power, but you know, it's the same console, just a different thing. But it's the first one that came out was pretty ugly. You know, it was like, I don't remember if you remember, but it was a little more chunky than what the DS Lite was. So it came out, and even the first time looking at it, I think I had a silver one. And I was like, yeah, like it's great that it's what the piece of tech is.
Doesn't
It
look
just
cool,
didn't
though, yeah.
didn't look fantastic. But once you opened it up, you got with the DS, what it's named for is the dual screen. So you've got one screen on top, one screen on the bottom, and the one on the bottom had a touch sensor on it and a little microphone and stuff. And so the games would get you involved in doing that, because so many of the games were first party Nintendo stuff, and they were made specifically for the DS rather than being multiple consoles like we see now. So they were all using that software, using that hardware, you know, for their games. So like you'd have some games like Zelda or things like that where you had like a pinwheel that needed to be blown, and so you're literally blowing at the console kind of thing, you know, things like that. But it was the the DS Lite really was where it kind of came into its own, because that 154 million, 98 million of that was a DS Lite.
Wow.
It was so much slicker. It was gorgeous looking machine. It still looks cool. But what I loved about the not only having the dual screens, which obviously worked in tandem, was that it had wireless capability, not just to say have Wi-Fi or Nintendo Wi-Fi internet, but it had like short range wireless connectivity between your mates. And so like I remember playing it on a plane when we were going away to South America, and we were sitting in different parts of the plane playing Mario Kart against each other, on this
brilliant
thing, and like it was class, and like it was backwards compatible for Game Boy Advance games. You could play ROMs on it, and download them for free, which obviously I would never do anything as illegal as
Jesus,
that. No, gee, and on this podcast, we don't recommend.
We don't support any piracy of any kind.
Yeah, not at all. And anyway, yeah, that was fucking deadly. But so you can play ROMs, so being able to get any game you could think of, and the launch price wasn't even that bad when you consider by today's standards, because of what it was. Like, we'd been playing on handheld consoles up to now on whether it was a portrait style one or a Game Boy Color, or like your over the years you had Atari Lynx and your Sega Mega Drive, Sega Game Gear, and that was kind of a rectangle kind of shape. Whereas this was the first one to have a flip up, two screens, all the rest of it, that they could have charged for the nose, because it was such a step up graphically as well. But the release price was €150, which is 225. Really, yeah, I think it's 225 or 226 when I looked it up today. When you think about the price of a console that comes out now,
400 or 500 easy.
Yeah, like it was totally reasonable.
Hence most the 98 million fucking.
Yeah. Most of the DS Lite, I don't think the original DS, but the DS Lite came with a stylus as well, which is great. But I think most of the launch games were pretty average. Like it was a decent console, but the games for the first couple of years weren't exactly fantastic, especially not in Japan and America, because it was released there with very few games. Now, because we didn't get it until the end of almost 2005, more games had been out at that point. And then by the time I think I didn't get one till I got to get my DS, I think I didn't play it for a while. I got the DS Lite in 2006. At that stage, there's a bunch of cool shit out then at that stage, So we've got this cool little compact, slick looking fucking thing. It was advertised so well that it sold out fucking everywhere multiple times. It was out of stock. The same thing that happens with all Nintendo consoles. Happened with the 3DS, happened tons of times with the Switch. You remember the Switch at the start?
Just couldn't get it
gold dust, couldn't get them anywhere. Parents going mad for Christmas not being able to get one. But because it had been out for a couple of years, then we started to get more and more good games. So like Mario 64 came out on it. We had Metroid Prime Hunter. I still think the best game I played on it though was definitely Mario Kart DS. Like you can play some of those courses now on Mario Kart 8 on the Switch.
Yeah.
But it was just class. The music was great. It looked the business. Like it was, you'd have on you're playing on the top screen, you'd see your character and everything around. But then the bottom screen, you look down, it has the track and show you where you were and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it obviously then, it did quite well. I think it was right up until it must have been 2012 or 13 or something. Like it was around for years before we got the 3DS, which also did incredibly well and used tons of the same elements. But it was out for quite a while, and I suppose that longevity probably is what allowed for it to have such good sales for so long, because it was the only thing like that on the market. The Vita and the PSP and stuff, they were fun, but they were never going to get the accessibility that a Nintendo console has, and it's, for me, Nintendo are still the kings of portable gaming. I know you've got the Steam Deck, and there's Lenovo do their own one as well, the Legion, but they're still the kings of it,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just said before I kind of finish up on it, because that's kind of a brief synopsis of the game. I thought I'd run through just some of the great games that I loved on it. So if you are out there and you do happen to have access to the Steam Deck and you can get access to these things, legally or illegally or whatever,
you're looking at them.
Some of these games are absolute gems. So there's GTA Chinatown Wars, great
Mm.
little Chinatown game or GTA game. Love the little mini games that even involved the touchscreen. Like you'd
Mm.
have to hotwire the car, and the touchscreen would bring up the little wires
Ah,
to
that's
put on the screen.
cool.
That you'd have to go and
That's
twist them
cool.
together, kind of thing. And the Mario Kart one, obviously, I mentioned there was two Mario and Luigi games that are both great. The new Super Mario Brothers. Um, One of my all-time favorite Zelda games was on it, the Phantom Hourglass.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Incredible game. Yeah, that was one of two, and there was the other one was Spirit Tracks, which was good as well, but not as good as that.
What was on
Um,
the extra screen for the Zelda games?
like your inventory and all that kind of
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you then have inventory, your because you're the usual thing. You're going around to pick up
Mhm.
bits and pieces and stuff. And again, you'd use it to interact with certain parts of the game as well. You know, but I remember I think it was I can't remember which one of those two games it was, but because you could mark the screen was great for being on the map and going. I need to know to get back to X, Y, and Z. You know, mark a door that I need to go back to, and you
Yeah.
get your stylus out and mark it and stuff. Then there was Castlevania, Dawn of Sorrows, the first Animal Crossing, Chrono Trigger. The Professor Layton games were great. That was real. It was real RPG, like a puzzle RPG, almost like an adventure puzzle RPG style games. Really clever, really cool little cutscenes that were actually voiced and everything. So they were good fun. Then Metroid Prime Hunters, as I said, Super Mario 64. The Pokemon games were actually pretty good.
Hmm.
There's tons of games, but they're the ones I would most likely revisit if I got my hands on one again. But anyway, like I said, it was going to be a very brief revisit. I just wanted to do it because it's the anniversary of the console, and it's fun to go back and I think
Oh, absolutely.
it was fun for me. Yeah, it was fun for me to go back and just kind of. I had a list of games and I was like, I remember playing X, Y, and Z. I must have a full list as I was going through. I was like, oh Jesus, yeah, I love that one. I love that one too. Like, so it was a nice little trip down memory lane to kind of go back through
and it's nice. It gives me
a
a list of some other games to add to my growing list of games.
That you won't play
next week. I'll add 15 DS games to it. No, but it's good to because I've never even entertained the thought of being able to revisit some of these games because obviously they can't really pick up a DS, or I'm not going to pick up. I think you can get them cheap enough in CEX and stuff, but yeah, there are other means that you can get them and play them. So yeah, I might check out a few of them.
Nice.
That's nice trip down.
Well, look, that's it for the retro corner. Before we finish up, I would like to talk about something exciting, which is what me and Daz have coming up now. You mentioned Daz mentioned on our last time out, he mentioned the year 1999 and was saying how it was such an incredible year for movies, but also for video games as well. And because it's 25 years on now, what we thought we'd do is a party like it's 1999 series. So for the next 4 weeks, so the whole month of February, basically, what we're going to do is our movie is going to be back to a movie from that year that came out, and then as well for the retro corner, we'll pick a game as well from 1999 as well. So maybe we'll have a bit of crack with it as well. Feel free to get involved. Let us know what your favorite movies were for that. What songs from 1999 bring you back to that year as well. Like were you shitting yourself for Y2K? What was going through your mind in the year of 1999?
It's all going to end.
Well, it's turning the millennium. It was massive. Like it was supposed to be this fucking huge thing, and yeah, nothing fucking happened. Yeah. But it was a fantastic year for movies. A real you'll see as we talk about them, and we'll be doing some others throughout the year, kind of around their anniversary. But for the month of February, we're going to have a party like it's 1999.
Some bangers.
Also fun because some bangers, and because they're all older, you'll feel free to listen along without having it fucking spoiled for you. But you can be reliving it along with us. So yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to that, to getting into that over the next 4 weeks. To look at movies that old, and because we're going to be absolute bangers, that's what's. It's always fun to have ones to take the piss out of. But when you're going back to these ones and transporting you back to the year 1999 and remembering actors that maybe aren't around with us anymore or don't act anymore or what else was going on that year, I think those episodes are going to be a lot of fun.
100%. What a fucking year. I can't wait to dive into some of this stuff. Happy days.
Deadly. Well, look, if there's nothing else from your end, Daz, anything else you want to finish up with?
No, just keep, thanks for all the support. Keep the emails coming at middleagedgeeks@yahoo.com. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep getting in contact, and also do us the usual favor of liking and subscribing and sharing and telling your mates. That'd be fantastic for us. So yeah, listen, thanks a million for listening, and we will see you next week where we travel back in time. All right, take it easy, guys.
Thank you very much.
Take it easy.
See you later.
Good luck. Bye bye.